Our second card for February stamping technique time is a fun technique. And I'm going to show you the cards first. Then I'm going to show you the set I used and the bundle, which is available now for a limited time. I love this. You gals in my club, you already got the PDF. Excuse me, but I wanted to show you. Wanted to make some Valentine cards for my grandkids. Simple, fast, but something that would put a smile on their face. So I made these. So what these are using, our technique is going to be the background here. In this case, the sky, and in this case, a sunny randomness. Almost looks like Venetian plaster, in my opinion, but I love this texture. And yes, I did just add this little thing so it looked like a little Valentine card abstract thing. It was the cutout from that. So to get started, I want to show you first the sets. They come with, the Hey Chick comes with all of this, the little barn, and then you have a sign, and you have a little stump, and all of these little ears of corn you can add to that. You have a little, whatever that is, thingy. Uh, we'll just call it a thingy. And then on this card, I am just going to be using this chicken here. And you can see all the wonderful bonuses that we get in this. So I have this wonderful textured, I don't know if you can see this. Just look at that cute texture that comes on these dies. And then, of course, I have a little baby chick that I'm going to use. He's kind of got a little 3D wing that comes out. And I'm going to use a couple of the fences pieces. If I wanted, I could use this cute little bow tie. I might. And then if I wanted, I could just use this little pile of chicken hay stuff. That's one of the dies as well. I'm not going to opt to do that today. So let's get started with the technique. The technique is using leftover stuff. You heard me right, leftover. So when I was boxing up and getting my Stampin' Up! Stuff, and of course you have this wonderful bubble wrap, and you're like, there's got to be something I can do with this. So I thought, well, I'll just like cut it in usable pieces. Well, when I cut it in a usable piece, guess what? Most of it deflates. But that's the beauty of this. So what we're going to be doing is direct inking onto this and making our wonderful background where it'll pick up the little subtleties of those lines and all of that wonderful stuff. So I'm going to put the camera down and let's get started. So I have a mat, a card mat that I'm using a white card, and then just white that will just fit right over top of that with a little bit of an edge showing. So for me, I am going to use, you want two of the same colors. And before I start, I wanted to show you. On the one card, I used Crushed Curry and Daffodil Delight. Now, this over here is what happens if you put your card down and then you put a piece of scrap over it and you press firmly. You press firmly onto it, right? Pushed too hard, and I had copy paper on top, and it just kind of, it's nice maybe, but it doesn't have the texture. This one, I did a light finger press, so you have more variety of texture that it picks up because it hasn't smashed at all. Okay, so just wanted to show you that. So having said that, I'm going to be using Seaside Spray and Balmy Blue. Now, what's wonderful and awful at the same time about plastic is when you ink up plastic, it's going to bead up a little bit. If you're, after a while, it'll just bead up. So I'm kind of putting my ink down. I'm not going to be in a hurry right away. I'm just going to kind of let it pool just a little bit because that's going to create some more of that wonderful texture. So when I do lay this down, I'm going to lay it one way. The second time, and then wipe my color. The second time, I'm going to go the other way just because I want a little bit of a different look. So now I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if the camera will show it, but it's beating up a little bit. Okay, pooling, beating up, whatever. So now I'm going to put that down. I'm going to just do kind of a light little finger dance across the back. And I'm going to lift it up. And I have a wonderful, fun texture. So now, and I can still keep my card that way and then just turn this. So I'm just going to turn that in this case. Now, I could leave it that way and I could come in and blend it with a lighter color just to kind of pick up some of the other variety. Or I could just say, hey, I wonder what's going to happen if I take my lighter color. Instead of taking a blending brush and blending to get rid of the white, or you could leave the white. Just depends what you want. But in this case, I want to see what happens when I add my lighter color. Every time you do this technique, it's going to be a different effect, right? Hopefully, it'll fill in some of these little crevices and stuff. Since I turned my bubble wrap, deflated bubble wrap, I don't need to turn my card because the pattern has already rotated. Okay, so now I'm just going to put that down. Do my little dance, finger dance, doo-dah, doo-dah. All right. And yes, it's okay if I get the back of my card smudgy because nobody's going to see that one. All right. I don't know if you can see that, but it picked up some fun, extra little texture and background. Now you might go, oh, that's a mess there. Well, I could come back and then just lay it down there and pick that up if I wanted to. And that's still a mess now. I should have probably left that, right? But I'm not worried because I'm going to use that is going to be covered in my particular card. So I'm not that broken up about it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do in the creating of my card, the next thing I'm going to do is create my grass. I have already done my pieces so I could show you, but this little strip is going to just cover up right across the bottom on mine. Now, if you don't have, this is just extra, you don't have to do that. If you have any stamp or any die, this works, this technique, because you don't want to cover up the beauty of all of this with a big panel on top. So something with a little die cut really helps accentuate this deflated bubble wrap technique. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Long ago, I had taught where you took that little tiny bubble wrap and then you press with it and you have like little beehive things. So I was kind of ecstatic about this big bubble wrap and making it look, there we go, making it look kind of fun. So now with my die, if I had real intricate dies, I could just put it down on a glue mat with a sponge and then just pop all over it. But I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way because this is not super intricate. I'm just going to put a little glue on these. Not really worried about it that much. I love this fence. Whoops, I do want that to show a little bit. So I love this fence. I just love the texture. You could even do this with these dies that also kind of emboss. They cut and emboss. You could even just do them in a white and then sponge on them to bring out some of the texture. And that is actually what I had done in this card here. This was done in white, and so was this. And then I just sponged on top to create what I wanted because as you can see right here in this little fence or the little sign, I needed something a little bit lighter so it would show my words. Okay. So I'm just going to cut that little extra off there. Not a problem. Okay, so I have that. I'll get that out of the way. And I'm just going to go back with my little trusty dimensionals and just kind of build my scene. Really, when you do this technique, it just leaves it open to interpretation of so many things that you can do. But I have to tell you, uh-oh, that didn't work. You know why, guys? I just put my little dot on the wrong side of my chick. He would be walking in the wrong direction, which would not be good. All right. So now what I've got that I'm going to do is stamp on my white. Where is it? Here it is. I love this chick. This is the birthday chick one. And, I thought, well, I like the idea. It's just my sense of humor of something strange happening in the farmyard. And I loved this little guy that he was being taken away. So I'm just going to put the die on this and run it through my embossing machine. And there it is. I know you're laughing because I already had this pre-made. So when I color my chick, I'm going to just take a moment and color this guy so I can finish my card, as I know you're maybe doing your die cuts and finishing yours. I'm going to take this. Which one am I using here? It is light smoky slate and dark smoky slate. I really love our blending pens. They just do so much. They go on like butter. And I love the coordinating colors, a darker and a lighter in each of them. Let me see. I try not to get his little beak here. I guess if I did, it really wouldn't matter because I can go back over it. All right. There's something therapeutic about coloring, isn't there? All right. So now I could keep going over this and make it darker with this same one color like that if I wanted, but I am instead going to just go with my darker color. And then just kind of come up and add some shadowing in here. Make his little chest a little bit darker there. Set his head out like that. And then I'm going to come back because I'm not a total fan of what I just did and kind of set that up like that. All right, I am using dark coral, dark calypso coral, and I'm just going to put in some little highlight features with his leg because he's got to have little feet that stick out in his little nose. All right, what I love about the die is that the die cuts fairly close. We don't have this, big, huge, wide gap. Now, with this, if I were to take, and I just had a heart that I used, if I were to take that, the heart is going to show beyond the heart. So I'm just going to simply cut that little guy down, cut it off because I did want the string and I wanted a little bit of that look over here. And going to kind of layer it in such a way that, let's see. Yep, I'm going to do that. Get that rid of that guy. All right. So one thing, sometimes when you're doing stuff that is layered like that, you can put glue on it, but you know, why use glue when no one's going to see and you can use just a little piece of tape. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that little piece of tape back here to hold it together. And of course, then I'm going to put on my dimensionals. This time I might use my bigger ones. I've got some stuff around the edges. There's nothing goes to waste with the dimensionals. Put a little guy there. Actually, it's quite a big guy. I don't know why I said little guy. One there. And one here. Actually, I really want that balloon to kind of stand out. So I'll give him a little more. And of course, one thing I had forgotten to do was bring my little tie, the look of the tie around the front. So I don't, you know, I've got this little thing that I left, so I have to make it look like it's now roping. So I'm just going to take a black little marker and kind of bring that around. And hopefully it kind of brings in that look. Okay. Go ahead and peel off my little back. Now I did notice that I have not adhered my back onto my card base, but we're just gonna not worry about that and show you that even though you kind of have a fail, you don't really have a fail. The fail would be if I were really, if I was using a running tape of some kind, it might be a little harder to go over the bumps. But because I'm using glue, liquid glue, my favorite thing in the world, it doesn't matter at all. So I'm just going to put this on. Press it down. And here I have my finished little Valentine's card for my grandson with a little bit of whimsy. So the whole point of our card was this wonderful created background. And you could tell this one was different than my original card, which is different than the background on this card. So really how you want it to look is all about you. If you don't like what you just did, flip it over and try it again. When I made this one, I think I smoothed with my hands more. When I made this one, I just kind of patted here and there. So again, it's what you want to make with your card. But the main thing is to create and to have fun and look around. And who knows, you might make a wonderful treasured card from a piece of trash that you were going to throw away. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here and we can finish up with our cards.